Patrick O here. Today I'm talking about perfectionism and how it disguises how your procrastination disguises itself as perfectionism. Where I want to start with is let's take a look at Google Drive for a moment. What I want to show you is 6FP is my abbreviation for six figure procrastinator. And if I plug this into my Google Docs, you will see a graveyard of assets that never launched. These are items that I got assets with notes. I've got all kinds of things that might be valuable to the solopreneur I'm trying to reach, but they'd never know because it's sitting in my brain and in Google Docs. And so 40 minutes to freedom, that was how to get more work on and off platforms like Upwork. The get off the gig wheel and leapfrog to six figures. That's another one that I really think is great. The problem with that one is one of the things I think that people who put together resources like this is they try to put a lot of stuff in there to make it really valuable. And what ends up happening is it gets bloated and it becomes something that's not digestible by the target audience, at least not in the format that the creator intended it to be. And really that's kind of what happened with a lot of these things is I just wanted to put so much value into them that they became, a lead magnet became a workshop, at least in the size of it. The workshop became a full-blown course, and that I couldn't fit into a workshop anyway. And so that's what you're looking at here is just a whole bunch of things that I thought were going to be great, and then I set out to build them, and then they weren't. And so the other thing I want to talk about is the evolution of Six Figure Procrastinator, because it didn't start out as Six Figure Procrastinator. I came up with the idea to do Unsolo, which was the original, the OG Six Figure P. What Unsolo was, it was designed, my idea was that solopreneurship is a lonely life, and like we got to stick together, right? Network with people who are adjacent to you in skill sets and so that you can be more well-rounded to your clients without having to build an agency. That was sort of what Unsolo was. Six Figure Procrastinator is not very different than what Unsolo was intended to be. Six Figure Procrastinator, however, is more it's a more vivid sort of calling out of solopreneurs who want to make six figures but just haven't reached that critical benchmark yet. And I can show you a little bit over here. If you take a look at my these are all of my Unsolo resources. Unsolo now happens to be the LLC of it's the company that holds Six Figure Procrastinator, but it was originally designed to be my main brand Unsolo, and now Six Figure Procrastinator is. If I want to take a look at what held me back besides making them bloated, and just to touch on this again, it's the fear that like it's not good enough, or comparing myself to creators who have been around for a while and putting out this stuff. The difference with those people are their audience is different, right? And so I was comparing my stuff to people who had tens of thousands of people in their orbit, and so for me to create something similar to theirs would mean I'd be creating something for their audience. So you have to get real with yourself, and you have to put something out there in order for you to get feedback on it and even know if it's good enough. All of these things that you see here, I went back to the drawing board just on a hunch. No one saw these and said, "Hey, Patrick, I think maybe you could do something better with that one, or this one is a little weak." No one ever said that to me. In fact, just the opposite. It was fear on my own of launching these things, and I suspect that you're suffering from some of that too, whether it be your offer, your website content that actually aligns with who you are, not something you put up years ago, your email signature or your super signature. There's a lot of things that we start and we don't put out to the world because we don't feel like it's good enough. Another thing I want to talk about just really quickly is how my positioning intake came to be one of my biggest profit centers, of my solo career. Basically, what happened is I had taken a course called Jobs to Be Done framework, and that's a framework for creating products. Funny thing is, I don't create products. However, at the time, I was and still am heavy into marketing, and I saw a valuable marketing application for the Jobs to Be Done framework. So what I did is I turned it into a questionnaire. And I started with my next client. I said, okay, this is going to be my intake, my discovery call. I'm going to do this. Let's take a look at what this looks like a little bit. So I worked with SaaS companies, it still do, but and I would pull this thing up on sales calls even before they hired me, just because I wanted companies to see this front page. I wanted them to read this along with me. SaaS companies struggling to get leads. It's because prospects don't get it. They mistake it for something it's not. They get it, but they don't see the value. They get it, they see the value, but they don't see it as a priority, or they can't differentiate it from something else on the market. And hands down, every single one of my customers, maybe you too, can look at these bullet points and pick out at least one of them that they're suffering from. And so, again, this was not something I did on purpose. This was something I threw together kind of at the last minute. I had a customer intake coming, so I didn't have time to overthink it. I put it together, launched it, got some feedback, added to it. Now there's multiple pages of this. And this takes about an hour and a half to go through. And every customer on the other side of it, by the time that we're done with this intake, there's a bond. We've created a bond together. It's almost like we've been through war together. I've asked them questions nobody's ever asked them before. And what I realized is this became probably the most valuable resource in my solo business. This became the reason I got so many great 5-star reviews on Upwork and on other places. It was because we kicked off the journey with this thing that when I first launched it, it was maybe 2 pages. Now it's, what does it say here? I don't know. 20. It's 20 pages. And again, probably one of the most valuable assets I have in my company that I just launched and perfected over time. Okay. Next thing is I want you to think about what you have in your digital graveyard, whether it's in your Google Docs, maybe it's even in your brain. You haven't just created it yet. Maybe you've created a PDF or a lead magnet or some other workshop or something that'll help the people that you're trying to reach that you haven't launched yet because you're trying to make it perfect. When in reality, you're just afraid. You're afraid it's not going to land. You're afraid nobody's going to want it. Nobody's going to like it. Nobody's going to get any value from it. And what I have to tell you is it's just not true. There's always someone behind you that could use the insight from your experience and your skills and the way that you navigated through the world with it. And the only way that you're going to know is by putting it out there and letting someone tell you how it is. And here's the thing. I'll also say that the times that people are getting value from you won't even know it. I recently had posted a workshop that I was going to be posting coming up. I said, hey, I have just a small following, and the people that I posted this to, I said, hey, I'm doing this workshop. If you're interested, let me know. No one let me know. So I just figured, okay, that fell on deaf ears. I got to go back and regroup. The day the workshop was supposed to originally said I was thinking about hosting this workshop, 3 people came to me and said, hey, are you doing that workshop, by the way? I said, no, nobody wanted it. The reality is I didn't give it a chance for somebody to want it, honestly. And I realized that I choked. So as I mentioned in the article, like perfectionism or procrastination disguising itself as perfectionism is something that I'm actively learning and practicing overcoming every day. So it happens to even the best creators. And I'll also say the best creators, the ones who've been around for a while, they don't know something new that they're going to launch. They don't know if it's going to do anything until they launch it. But they've got those reps in of launching, observing, regrouping. They've got those reps in. They know how to do it, so they just do it. They don't get hung up on it. They don't overthink it. They just launch it. Okay. So I want to end with this. Perfection doesn't pay. Action does. When I finally started putting these offers out into the world, 6-figure procrastinator included, the feedback I got made them better than anything I could have done on my own. And they help people even in their early messy stages. So here's my challenge to you. What's sitting around in your digital graveyard? Pull it out, dust it off, let the world see it and make it better with you. Reminder, grab the 6-figure solopreneur checklist, which I've linked down below. We're going to have a Q&A on, it's going to be every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Bring your checklist, any questions involved from it. We talk about your offers, getting clients, keeping clients, delivering better results for clients. All that's included with the checklist. Again, what I'd like you to do is grab the checklist. If you're not a subscriber already, simply subscribe to the Substack, 6-figure procrastinator, and it will be emailed right to you along with some other resources that you'll be able to use. And then again, bring it to the Q&A tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. I hope to see you there.